I got a great word today for y'all. And I don't just say that because I waffled back and forth a lot this week with this word. And what was so interesting about this word is that it wouldn't even show up on my thing. I saved it and I did everything, but it goes to my little cloud, and so I can put it, and it gets on all my other devices. But for some reason, this word didn't show up. It wouldn't show up. I saved it and everything, but it wouldn't show up. And so I didn't even think about it. I haven't done it in so long. I said, just put it on a zip drive. And then so I went to go do that this morning. I said, yeah, let me go find my zip drive. I couldn't even find my zip drive. So I said, I can't even find my zip drive to put it on there so I can bring it up here. But then all of a sudden, it showed up. All of a sudden, this word gets put on there. Because I was going to just go on to something else, but I think this is good. And I'm going to show you why this is good here in a second. And it's on point because of what my brother Vince said in the opening. That's why it's on point, and that's why this is a relevant word. But this is the secret way to get to the things of God also. A lot of other people aren't going to really tell you this, but this is the way you get God to operate in your life. There's no other way I can say it. If you follow what I'm going to tell you today, God has to move in your life. And if he's not moving, it's because you're not following what I'm about to say. And don't get this twisted of that we think that God moves now, we just about to get this money. That's what everybody equates this to. It's not that. But he will provide what you need when you need it. I'm not about to say you're about to be a multimillionaire and God's going to do all these things for you so you can be a better consumer. If God's going to be a blessing to you, he should be a better giver. That's what the blessing looks like. It's not for your consumption. It's just a seed so you can keep planting seeds and keep providing for others. But if you can do this, this will be a blessing to you. But and Vince said this, and y'all let's see. This is how to apply. I'm about to show you how to apply this. and it's so good because this is what happens with the things of God. If we had a job that we really wanted, we have a job that we want, we'd be like, oh my, that's my dream job. I want this job. We will get that resume in order. That would be the greatest looking resume you ever saw in your life. And we will be sharp when we show up to that thing. We will be on point when we get there. We'd be so fake in that interview, boy, you wouldn't mess up a word in that interview. They were like, this guy is perfect in this interview. You say, man, it is so great to see this, and because it's something that you want. But for some reason with the things of God, we tend to slop it together. We don't make it perfect. And maybe that's just me. You know, I done slop some things together with God. I don't know, it'll be all right. It'll be okay. But if you want the best from God, why don't we give him our best? Just makes sense to me. If I really want my wife to treat me really well, it seems like I wouldn't be starting arguments and fights with her. You try to keep this thing real kosher and real smooth. It's just me, but I'm going to show you how to apply this today. Here we go right here. And I'm coming out of Psalms 119, and I'm going to do 1 through 11. And here we go. This is what it says. Blessed are those whose ways are blameless, who walk according to the law of the Lord. It's up to you to find out what laws you want to follow, what you want to go by in the things of this word. And as Vince was saying, man, there's so much stuff in here. Sometimes you forget certain things and you have to come back to it. But as you grow in your processes with the things of Yah, you should get better in being a believer. I won't say Christian. It's just a big gang sometimes, I feel. Being a Christian is a big gang to say that you're a part or affiliation. I'd rather see your fruit. I'd rather see the fruit of it. And then I understand, because your mouth can say a lot of different things to me, but your actions speak way louder. Your actions holler at me. See, when you tell me, hey, I'm sorry for what I did, no, show me you're sorry. I don't just want to hear it. Don't let it happen again if you're that sorry. But it's some rules and guidelines we go by. And then also the next one, it says, blessed are those who keep his statutes and seek him with all their heart. It's a lot of things that are down in our heart, and it says from the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. So when you're dealing with people, you listen to what they're saying to you, and that's usually what they are. Usually what they are. But see, the reason why this stuff really doesn't mean a lot to us because we don't think you're blessed if you do these things. But it's saying blessed is the person who does this. But do we believe it's truly a blessing for doing these things? We want instant payoff for everything that we do. We be like, it's almost like at the school. If you're in school, I remember back in the day, you know, you have that bad kid. And the kid would be good for one day. And then he wants the teacher to give him the world. It's like, man, you was just good one day. Now you want everything in one day? See, so sometimes that's how we always like, well, Lord, you know, I did this today. Okay, well, keep doing it. Keep following these rules. Make this a habit of doing good in your life. Make this a habit of following the rules of Yah in your life. That's how you get to being blessed. That's how you get to being blessed. But look, let me show you what statutes is. I don't have it on the board, but we just gloss over these words, but it's keep his statutes. Look what statutes means. Statutes mean an act of a corporation or its founder intended as a permanent rule. What do we always say? He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. But for some reason, we hear a lot of talk now about, well, you don't have to follow no laws. It's a lawless generation. And we see it. And the people that tell you that they follow the laws, those are the main ones that's always breaking the laws. You don't have to tell me you follow the laws. I'm watching you. Oh, man, I'm a law-abiding citizen. No, you're not. You wouldn't have to tell me that. You wouldn't have to tell me that. See, those be the main ones. Oh, man, look what I'm doing. Look, check me out. No, you're lying. You're not keeping the statutes because you're not truly seeking him with all your heart. You can't keep his laws if you're not seeking after him wholeheartedly. Everybody knows what they're chasing. See, we can't lie. You know, we can't lie. We can. We can lie to each other because, you know, God weighs the hearts. See, we can come in. That's why church is so messed up too, because for some reason when we do come to church, we have to act like we have it all together. If not, you'll look at me differently. See, that's why people say you know, back in the day, you know, you always had to put on a suit when you came to church, or not, people would look at you crazy. But they weren't even looking at their heart. Like, man, that brother showed up. Well, that sister showed up. Why are we worried about what they're dressed in? We need to see what's in their heart. See, I need to see what's in your heart. I don't care what you're wearing. Man, what's in that heart? See, if your heart starts to change, other things change in the process. See, if we can't touch your heart, nothing else will change. That's why, man, when people fall in love, they say, man, I love him with all my heart. You say, okay, that means it's down in there. That means that love shouldn't be going nowhere no time soon because it's in your heart. They used to sing that song, man, I got the joy, joy, joy down in my heart. Down in my heart. When it gets down in there, man, it's tough to get rid of that. But look what verse 3 says. They do no wrong but follow his ways. You have laid down precepts that are to be fully obeyed. I would say I'm going to give you what precepts mean, but that's a good word. Precepts is a good word because we probably don't know what that definition is. I actually had to look it up myself this morning because I thought I knew what it meant, but I really didn't. It's a good word. And so look at what it is. Principle intended especially as a general rule of action. An order issued legally constituted authority to a subordinate official. It's God giving us our directives of what we should be doing. We're his subordinates. We're not on the equal playing field with God. So if you're not answering to him, who are you answering to? We're not on the same level with God. You know, we sing that song, I'm a friend of God. No, you're not. I only knew one guy he called a friend of God. That was Abraham. He did that. We called a friend of God, but we sing the song, oh, I'm a friend of God. No, you're not. You might be an enemy if you're not doing what he says. You can't be my friend if you're not following my words. That's the way the Lord is. You can't be his friend if you're not following what the word says. It's some laws that we have to follow. And this is how we apply the things of Yah to our life. Number 5, oh, that my ways are steadfast in obeying your decrees. Firm in allegiance to a person. That's what steadfast is. So we're firm in our belief to our person and obeying his decrees. Then I would not be put to shame when I consider all your commands. We don't want to follow them because we know we'll be put to shame when we try to. We know we're not even scratching the surface or getting close to doing what the Lord Almighty requires of us. The more that I chase and the more that I seek after God, the narrower the path gets. And the lonelier the path gets, because it's almost like riding on a backcountry road. You're not going to see many people when you're trying to do the right thing. As I used to tell my oldest daughter, I say, if it's usually a packed place, God might not be there. If it's usually where people don't have no inhibitions and they're just wilding out, it's probably not a place you should be. Because if we truly want to get in, it said, unless your righteousness exceeds these of the Pharisees, you're not going to get in. See, and so that's why, and I'm gonna show you, and that just popped in my head about the law. So let's look at it like this, because a lot of people say they can't keep the law. You know, you can't keep the 10 Commandments and all those. It's just impossible. They tell you to keep the law. But if you really think about what the law of God is, he actually said in Matthew, it's in the Gospels, but Yahushua said this, and he said, one of the things he said in there was that you say that if you commit adultery, that you've sinned. And he said, well, I say, if you look upon a woman with lustful thoughts, you've committed adultery. So what's worse? See, the old law was saying, hey, if you do it, then that's it. But now this new way that he said, if you even look this way, now you've committed adultery. So it's actually, the law got worse. See, and then he said, man, if you kill, then it's messed up. But he said, man, if you say against your brother, raka to him, you've committed murder in your heart. So what's worse? See, we talk about the old law that we couldn't keep, but the new law is even worse. It even gets you a little closer to God. And why does he want to do this? Because it keeps you safe. See, when you start to follow God's laws, now Satan can't be the accuser of the brethren. See, Satan has a testimony against you when you're not doing what the Lord says to do. That's why we can't get the successes and the power in our life that we should. The moment that you start sinning and the moment that you get away from the things of God, fear creeps in. Happens to me every time. When I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, fear comes in. Oh, man, you ain't going to make it. God ain't going to provide for you. Oh, man, I don't know what's about to happen to you. When I'm walking upright like I should with the things of God, I don't never worry about none of that. See, when I get off tilt a little bit, start to mess up, you be like, I don't know if this is going to work. Because really, Satan is there accusing you. Say, look at you. That's your son doing that? That's your daughter acting like that? So, oh, man. And see, so that's what happens. I'm be put to shame when I don't do what the Lord command me to do. I'm being put to shame by the enemy. That's why when Job got accused, he said, you consider my servant Job? He said, oh yeah, but I can't touch him because you got a hedge around him, because Job was upright. And then he said, well, all right, you can touch Job. You can touch Job. Oh, he's just going to curse you and die. Job didn't curse him and die. Friends started talking bad. Wife talked bad. He did not curse God. He said, Lord, I'm rolling with you. And if you want to see something very crazy and interesting, you go over there and read Isaiah 45:7. The Lord said, hey, I deal with good and evil. Hey, let that go mess your theology up some. And the Lord said he deals with the evil too. He sends evil too, he said. But we ain't gonna get it. We can't get that far off because then we'd be cursing everything. But see if you can figure that one out. But you only be able to figure that out with the unction of the Holy Spirit. But yeah, let me get through these verses and I'll show you this, and we'll get to how I really apply this. And it says, I will praise you with an upright heart as I learn your righteous laws. I will obey your decrees. Do not utterly forsake me. Nobody ever told me this next verse. They probably did, but they never did. But verse 9, because I would have liked to have known this one. And so I'm going to just give it to you. So this is what you can tell your kids, your young ones. How does a young person stay on the path of purity? By living according to your word. Joseph showed us the example. He lived according to Yah's word, so he stayed pure in the process. It can be done. See, we just judge it by our standards of not being able to do it, but it can be done. If you live by the word, you can live a pure life. But if you get away from the word, you can't live a pure life. I mean, man, my sister's boyfriend, I'm talking to him. And I can say this because they don't watch anyway. But I was talking to him. He said, Mr. Cheeks, you know, I follow God. I love the Lord. And I said, oh, okay. I'm thinking, well, the way y'all operating, moving around out here, it don't look like it. But it is what it is. And he said, but, you know, I follow God. I said, okay, I'm glad you're following God. But I said, do you listen to God? See, we all can say we follow him. And I see, man, the people, the young folks now with the tattoos, they'll be quick to tell you they love Jesus. I said, man, so Jesus told you to get a tattoo all on your neck and everything else? I'm like, so Jesus told you to do this? I said, okay, that's interesting that he's telling you to do this stuff. So I'm not really understanding that, but you know, tattoos all on the body. They say, oh, I love the Lord. God is so good and all this other stuff, but they do nothing of what the word says. He said, man, this is a lawless generation that we're witnessing here. This is a lawless generation that we're truly witnessing. But this is what it also says. I seek you with all my heart. Do not lead me astray from your commands. And look what verse 11 says. I have hid your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. It should hurt you when you displease God. You should feel some type of reverence when you don't do what the Lord is saying to do. It grieves me. When I mess up, man, I'm grieved. You know, it's something that bothers me. I'm like, man, this ain't good. And it's not that it's a condemnation. It's true repentance that you want to turn away from the problem. So, man, I got to get that out of my life. I got to be a better person, because I don't know if you guys look at it like this, but I guess maybe because I pastor a church, I look at it as people are dependent on me. People look up to me. And that's the same way with every individual in here. If you have kids, somebody's looking up to you. Somebody's dependent on you to do the right thing. Somebody's watching your example of how you serve God. See, that's what this is. See, they're watching you. They're not listening to everything you're saying. They're watching you. And so that's why we get so sloppy, and you see sloppy people doing things, and then that's the example of the way we should be serving God, and it's not correct. But everything else, you wouldn't put on no dirty shirt. You wouldn't put on no dirty sneakers. But you can be as dirty as you want to be in the kingdom. Mm, mm. All right, this is how we apply differently. We have to. If you want to be special in the kingdom of God, you have to apply this differently. You can't do it like everybody else is doing. This isn't a feel-good, well, I want to call it a religion, but this isn't a feel-good relationship. When you truly start to chase after the things of Yah, it's a discipline and it hurts. It's lonely. It's almost like working out at 4 a.m. when nobody's at the gym. 4 a.m. when you like, I can't do it no more. I have to quit in what I'm doing. That's the way the things of God are applied. It's pressure that is put on you to do this. And as many that have walked away from the faith, because he said in the day of adversity, if you faint, your strength is weak. This is a fight that we have on our hands that we are continually trying to apply pressure to the enemy. You have to go on the offense because the enemy is offensively working against you. You can only play defense for so long, so you eventually have to attack the other person. But see, we're always defensive in a stance because we need to apply some pressure to him. But you can't apply the pressure if you're not in right standing with your God. Understand the 7 sons of Scevia. They went out there trying to mess with them. They weren't in right order, and they got the clothes whooped off of them. So you got to be in right standing. If not, you're always going to be on the defensive. And we all know it ain't good getting punched all day long. It's like being upside the ropes, and they just keep hitting. And if that's the way you want to keep playing the game, stay on the ropes and keep playing that way. But I ain't going to sit there and let the devil just keep hitting on my head. I got to get a punch or two in too. It just feels fair. Just feels fair. But now, because the devil ain't going to quit hitting you upside your head. And if the devil ain't hitting you upside your head, maybe you're in right standing with him. You say, well, ain't no messing with me. You say, all right, well, maybe you ain't messing with them. It's almost like stirring up a wasp's nest. That's what you're really doing. The more you read your Bible, the more you apply this to your life, it's stirring up a wasp's nest. You say, oh man, I'm gonna leave that nest alone because I don't want that. You say, no, I'm gonna be like the honey badger. I'm gonna go in there, and what is that? The honey badger, he gets bit by the snake. He just lays down for a little while and he gets up. Hey, that poison puts him to sleep for a little while. I'd be like, yeah, you got me right now, but I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm not laying down. I'm going to keep fighting because I have to do something about this. See, I have to apply the things of Yah differently than everybody else is. It's not fun. See, just think about this. Just think, if you ate cake, how often do you usually eat? If you eat a sweet, how often do you eat a sweet? Usually one time a day. Because you know good and well those are just empty calories and they're not going to do nothing for you. But if you're truly going to build yourself up, you're probably eating some chicken, some veggies, some salad, maybe some sweet potatoes, or more of a balanced whole meal. You do that more than you do the sweet stuff. So that's the way the things of God. You better get more of these chicken and these veggies than you are getting of all the sweet stuff out there. And you better be happy doing it. If you want to have some real muscles, you can't eat sweets all day. You can't do it. So we apply these things differently of the things of God, but this is the application process here. We must learn to enjoy following God's rules. David said, hey, his word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against you. So it must be something enjoyable and pleasurable there in order to, you got to learn to enjoy these things that God has given us, because the rules are to keep you safe. They're just to keep you safe, because that's why we put them in place in our households, because we want to keep the people safe. And that's the way the things of God are. But they tell you, man, if it feels good, just go after it. God will understand. Man, these people are really gonna miss heaven, but they can never come back and tell you that they wouldn't have did it that way, or that like they be like, man, well, I'm saying if they could come back. You remember the guy, he said, the I think it was a rich guy, and he went and he said, hey Lazarus, come across here and just bring me a little, dip your finger in some water and bring it to me. He's like, nah, there was a gulf in between these people. And he said, and they said Lazarus was in Abraham's bosom. And so he said, well, at least let me go back and tell my brothers and all this. He's like, nah, if they wouldn't listen to the prophets, they're not gonna listen to a dead man. So he's telling the man, like, look, if you're not gonna listen to the man or woman of God, you definitely ain't about to listen to a dead man that comes back. Why do people, when people do die and different things like that, why do they want to talk to dead people? Be like, well, I gotta, go out here and lay some flowers on his grave. No, absent with the body. They always say present with the Lord, but you might not be present with him. You might be in another spot too. But you can talk to the King Kings and the Lord of Lords. The Lord was revealing something to me about AI. One of the interesting things about AI is that the AI has become people's gods. See, you rather go talk to the AI than talk to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And you want AI because AI doesn't require you to do anything. AI just spits out an answer instantly for you. And you know good and well your God doesn't work that way. See, sometimes you're gonna have to tarry there for a little while to pray to him. See, so that's why you think, man, AI is a great deal, because and if you use AI in certain instances, maybe it is good for work and different things like that. But if you're seeking AI for all the answers and never talking to your God, that's a problem. That's a problem. But yeah, let's go here. And then this is the second part of application: seek him with all your heart. If you're doing this or not. We know if we're seeking him with our whole heart. We know that. We can tell. And if you're not, look, don't be condemned about this, but I'm saying please start doing it, because it would be beneficial if you are. And when you're seeking him with your whole heart, that really is saying do it the correct way. Don't have ulterior motives when you're talking to your God. Man, just say, Lord, I need you. Don't ask for nothing. Just sit there and give him some time. Because we do, and everybody does. Everybody wants more money. Money's not none of our problems. Money's not our problem. It's usually something else that comes along with the money. That's why we're short on our money, because we have some other things going on. But usually God is giving you what is sufficient for you, what you need. We squander it off and do other things with it. It's us. It's not prayer. You don't need prayer for that. It's, oh, well, Lord, enlarge my church. No. For what? You're just going to squander that off that you get. You're not a good steward of what he's giving you. That's why you're lacking. It's not money. Come on. But if we seek him with all our heart, we don't care about this money no more. This means nothing. We say we're going to spend eternity with this spirit, with Yahuwah. We say we're going to spend eternity with him, but we can't give him nothing while we're here. Don't do that. Seek him with all your heart, and things will be different. He say, look, in my presence there is fullness of joy, and in my right hand there are pleasures forevermore. We don't have the joy and the peace because we're not seeking him. Get in his presence. Did it go off? Okay, there we go. This last one. Then the word will be hidden in your heart, and it will become hard to deviate from God. I'm telling you this. So if you don't want to go deeper with God, don't do none of this stuff that we're saying. Don't do none of this stuff that I'm saying in this process. But once you hide his word in your heart, the Lord starts to change your life like never before. He'll change it. The Lord starts to give you wisdom in your path. The Lord starts to orchestrate everything around you. See, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all thy ways, acknowledge him, and he starts to direct your path. See, the best way to live is to die. He said, if you love your life, you will lose it. But if you lose your life, you will save it. See, we don't understand what he's saying there. Look, man, give it to me and you will have everything you need. If not, keep trying to save your life. Keep trying to save it. It becomes tiresome. He said, man, take my yoke. It's easy. It's easy. Man, trade your yoke for his yoke. It's easy. This thing, and not saying you're never going to have another problem, because you will, but you get stronger. And you wake up, you say, man, what they got for me today? Oh, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be an awesome day today because I get to work with God today. Yah's going to work on my behalf today. He's going to provide with everything I need, and I'm going to just get out the way and let him work. I'm just going to let him go to work. But let me see what I got in closing here. I don't think I got no more slides. That's why I can't go to the next. Yeah, I didn't have no more slides, so that's good. But just think about that as we look at this, man. Imagine is really our life is that we're trying to get healthy. See, one of the things when you didn't know Yah, you were out of shape, you were not in good condition. But what Yah is doing, he's putting us in better shape. See, he's putting us in good condition, because if you think the world is about to get better, you're sadly mistaken. This isn't going to get easier at what we're seeing. We're going to have to get stronger and stronger in what we are doing, because every single individual in here is about to have to bring somebody along. And we're going to have to be strong enough to take up the burdens of our brothers and sisters. Because some people do want truth. Some people do want to see what the real looks like. And it's going to have to be us that brings them along in the process. And it's not saying you're just going to have to, hand these people all this money and all this other stuff. But you are going to have to encourage. You are going to have to do some praying. You are going to have to seek God so that you can be poured out. See, you have to end this life that we've been poured out so much that, man, we're ready to be offered up to him. See, we can't just keep trying to take everything in and we're not pouring anything out to anybody. You can't do that. See, that's not the way this works. See, we get poured into so we can pour out. So as we look at this, please don't deviate from the things of God. But if you really want to get to the things of God, it's God's laws that help these things be applicable and start to work in your life. You can't do it without it. Then if you do, and this is the last thing, I just got this. If you do it without it, it's just like a toss-up. See, you don't know if it's going to work or not. See, it becomes 50-50. You be like, oh, did he hear me or didn't he hear me? Oh, did he hear me? See, when you are pleasing to your job, use this. If you're pleasing to your job, you're making them happy, man. You showing up on time, you're doing these things, you're doing all that. You go to your job and say, hey, man, I need this day off. Cool. You're a good employee, man. You take that day off. But if you know that you've been slopping everything together and you go up in that office, you say, hey, man, I need this day off. We say, cool. Don't come back. You can take all them days off. See, we're not even gonna need you no more. I'm glad you came and asked, because I didn't want to let you go. But now, hey, man, you need that day off? Cool. We don't need you no more. You can get on up out of here. See, but that's what happens with the things of God when we're not following the rules and the laws. We don't know what's about to happen. I know without a shadow of a doubt, when I pray, he hears me. Not saying that it happens instantly, but I know he's listening because I'm listening to him. If my kids are listening to me, why would I withhold anything good from them? I'm like, well, you listen to me. Okay. Oh, that's what you need. I'm going to listen to you. Let's listen to each other then. Okay. Let's listen to each other. You doing what I need you to do. I'm going to do what you need. See, that's the way this works. And it's not for selfish gain. Not for selfish gain. Like, man, Lord, I just want to be pleasing in your sight. So the word and his laws is what's going to keep us safe, and that's what's going to keep us in order. But definitely follow God with all your